welcome to or welcome back to my channel. I'm Johanna, me, my dog and books. Where are my dogs? I'll show you, one is here and the other one is in her bed. Say hi, Lucy. Lucy. Hi. Patty. Waggy tail. Yay. So, welcome to another weekend reading vlog. What's happening this week? Well, I've got quite a chilled one. I say chilled, sorry, I've just eaten my bowl of cereal. This morning I have finished a book, started a new book, been for a run, walked the dogs and done a hoover. Because anyone else just feel like can't really, or is it just me, can't really relax until the house is hoovered. You feel a wee bit like it's tidy. Well, and actually, you know, don't judge my garden, but it's not raining. However, I think we're due to get storm Kathleen, storm something beginning with a K today, up to about 50-mile-an-hour winds mid-afternoon. So I don't plan on going anywhere really much, apart from because the libraries were shut last weekend. I have got a couple of library books to pick up. I can't even remember what they are. I've got one to take back and I've got some life admin to do. Oh look, this is today's mug. Pets and plants over people, and I'm having a nice vanilla chai because I've already had a filter jug full of coffee and then I stop my caffeine at midday, which I don't know if that defeats the principle if you just drink as much caffeine. To be fair, I do, because it's a filter coffee machine, I do like half decaf, half caffeine, or like this morning, 3/4 decaf. Lucy's sitting on the beanbag next to me. See here, Lucy. She's trying to get comfy, but also she knows my cereal bowl's here, so she likes to lick it afterwards. I mean, I don't let her do that. Anyway, I'll speak to you about my books. So I'll take you to the library. You love the library. I've got life admin to do, which is like renewing my home insurance, budgeting. I'm sure there's something else. Oh, I had to cancel my credit card because I had some fraudulent blah blah blahs on it. I'll deal with all that. So, and then I'm hoping to try and look at flights and accommodation, because I want to go and visit one of my booksta buddies who's down in Wales before it gets into the school holidays. So I'm going to have a wee look at that. I'm going to get the OH to help me because my navigational skills are terrible, like literally terrible. So I want to make sure, like, whatever I book, I'm like, you know, close to wherever I need to be. And I feel like that. I mean, honestly, look, there's actual sun coming out, but the wind is looking so bad in the next couple of hours. The other half isn't even going out for his cycle. He was due to go out cycle this weekend. He's got a big cycle with friends coming up like next month that he's training for, and despite how nice it is out there, he's gone up there on our exercise bike. The golf's on the telly. Oh, next weekend. Oh, you're going to get my mum again, because I think I mentioned in last week's weekend reading vlog, it's my nephew's 17th birthday, so he's having all his pals round, so my mum is coming here to avoid it. But it's also the Masters weekend. If you're into golf, you'll know what that is. If you're not, it's a big championship, a golf championship. The other half pretty much is glued to the telly from as soon as it starts round about the Wednesday until it finishes on the Sunday. So that means I'll get a lot of reading done. For a change, I started not in my pyjamas this morning, only because honestly I couldn't even look at me. I was just so tired. My hair really needed a wash, so it was out to here, like. So take you to the library. I'll give you, hopefully today I'm just going to mostly read do a bit of cross stitch, and we've got a classic horror movie. As I've maybe mentioned in previous videos, we are making our way through. The other half's listening. Well, we're both kind of listening to a podcast about classic like horror movies with the serial killer trope. So we're kind of working back from early 1900s to the most recent episode, which is a film called The Eyes with No Face. I think it came out in 1960. Apparently it's an absolute horror classic. It's black and white, I think. So that might be terrifying. That sounds like I might want to get some popcorn for that. I plan on starting, well, I already have started another book. I want to finish another one, start another one, because I got a NetGalley approval for, what was it? Riley Sager's new one, and I love Riley Sager. So I'll talk to you about that later. Anyway, enjoy the weekend with me. And yeah, this is my kitchen. I'm going to make enchiladas tonight for dinner. I haven't decided if I'll bake. I don't know. See how I feel. Anyway, come with me and let's see what we get up to. If you hear any noise, it's because the winds are whipping up. Whipping up. I can literally feel the car move. Like it. So I think I'm just going to be going home via a charity shop drop off. I've got a couple of things to donate. Excuse me. I've just been into Lidl after the library, and I can never resist getting one of these, and then I must immediately eat it. So I'm going to drive home slowly and safely. This weather's crazy. It was a successful library haul. I picked up 3 books I had in reserve, so I'll talk you through them later. And I got 5 books on the sale shelf. Do you know, books that are like withdrawn from the library? It's supposed to be 5 for £1, right? Which is an absolute bargain, but they don't take card, and I literally only had 80 pence on me, so they let me have the 5 books for 80p. It's ridiculous, but I'm giving them a good home. And they're actually, a few of them are ones that were on my radar that I haven't read yet, so I'll talk you through them later. So yeah, I got myself some sweet and salty popcorn, and the other half some crisps for our movie watching later. And what else did I pick up? Some alcohol-free beer for me, because I don't drink, but sometimes I like to have a wee fake beer of an evening at the weekend, so I'll have that. And then I think I'm just going to go home once I've dropped this donation off and batten down the hatches. It's not a day for being out and about. Might see if I can take the kids just a really short walk round the block, then get them back in for lunch. Anyway, I'll get you back at home. So we're back from the library. I'm having a rooibos tea and trying to have a wee bit of, I'm not a big chocolate eater, right, but see Aldi's vegan blonde. For anyone that's old enough to remember, they taste like Karamak. Delicious. But you never eat alone in this house. You're not allowed any. Not allowed any. Oh. Right, I'm back. Got the washing on. What juice to again? These have had little runs. So good. Only have 2 bits, so I feel sick. Yes. Enough later. Front like practice a liquor. Anyway, I thought I'd let you know the books I got. Oh, I've just put a big fingerprint on my glasses. A couple of things in the book department. I finished this morning. A Good House for Children, sorry. Oh, I really need to clean that. By Kate Collins. I haven't got any more chocolate, I'm afraid. By Kate Collins. So it's very much a haunted house story, but not like dark horror. Like, it's very light horror, so more like ghost story, haunted house. Over 2 timelines, 1976 and 2018. 2 families, and in both the families, the woman mother of the house is left alone for either indefinitely or for significant periods of time, and then they are the ones that start to experience stuff happening in the house. I got it last month, and a buddy read it, and it was good in that it was a good page turner. Like, there's normally each other chapter is like a different timeline, so you've got a different bunch of characters, but then you start to see how their stories relate. But it felt like it was missing something. I think this is a debut, I could be wrong. It felt like there were so many little like plot lines like starting where I thought you were going to find out much more about what was creating the like ghostly feelings and sightings within the house, but it didn't really delve far enough into it. And there were so many things that were maybe referenced that then were never referenced again. You thought that was going somewhere. That did keep you turning the pages, but it was a wee bit of a letdown at the end. And saying that, if you like a good haunted house story that's not dark horror in the slightest, then it's a decent read. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed picking it up. I think it just felt like I had a good opportunity and it just didn't quite deliver. So when I finished that this morning, I started this. So this is one of the books and one of the authors I will definitely feature in my kind of recommended sort of, or the kind of cozy reads I enjoy, and this is The Good, the Bad and the Aunties. This is book 4 by Jessie Sutanto. No, 3. Dial A for Aunties, which I've read. 4 Aunties in a Wedding, which I've read, and then this is the 3rd one. And apparently the last one. So lovely friend Caroline from HQ Stories gave me this. I think it's already out. But it's you follow Maddie and her aunties, Indonesian Chinese aunties, and it follows them. Just they're quite meddling in her life and always have been, and at this point in time she's just off the back of, well, she's grown up and she's perhaps married. It's not really a huge spoiler, but anyway. And there's always chaos ensues. If kind of like in the same way, if you've ever read like Finlay Donovan, that kind of stuff just follows this family around, especially these meddling aunties who are just lovely, but they're just like overreaching. There's lots of cultural references to the kind of family dynamic. I'm already nearly 60 pages in, and it's utter escapism. I'm loving it. Then I went to the library because I had 3 books on reserve. One is a bit of a random one, but hear that noise? That's the wind outside. It's crazy. I mean, it's actually quite warm, but it's blowing a hoolie. This one I got, I put it on reserve because a colleague in work was reading it, and I thought, oh, that sounds fascinating. It's non-fiction. It's based on British politics, and it says Killing Thatcher, the IRA, the Manhunt and the Long War on the Crown by Rory, Carroll. So I think it's set, yeah, it's back in the early 80s, actually 1984. An IRA bomb exploded in a Brighton hotel where the Conservative Party, I think, were having their party conference in Brighton, and it was their attempt to kill the then Prime Minister, who is very much detested in Scotland. Maggie Thatcher, not that you would wish Prime Minister's death at all, but she was a very polarising Prime Minister of the day. So it says the IRA bomb exploded at 2:54 AM on the 12th of October 1984, the last day of the party conference in Brighton. Rooms were obliterated, dozens of people wounded, 5 people killed. Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher was in the lounge of her suite when the explosion occurred. She had been just a few feet in the other direction. Had she just been a few feet in the other direction, flying tiles of masonry would have sliced her into ribbons. As it was, she survived and history changed. Killing Thatcher is a gripping account of how the IRA came astonishingly close to killing the Iron Lady and wiping out the British cabinet, the most daring conspiracy against the crown since the gunpowder plot. This just sounds like utterly fascinating. I think the older I get, the more I get into like reading politics, and this is obviously something that happened when, how old would I have been? I would have been 8, so marginally aware of it happening. So got that. One, not really so much reading, but because my friend messaged me about it. I think she bought it from Amazon and I realised my library had it. So it's the Green Roasting Tin Vegan and Vegetarian One Dish Dinners. Who doesn't like a one dish dinner? So I'll be giving that a bit of a battle. 3 bean chilli with avocado salsa. I took the other one back. What was it? The Dirty Vegan. It was alright. I didn't really love it. And this one I'm picking up because I saw Laura in the books read it and it sounded really interesting. It's called Monsters, A Fan's Dilemma by Claire Dederer. I really should get better at pronouncing people's names. Also look at the cover. So this sounds really interesting. Wait till you hear the synopsis. What do we do with the art of monstrous men? Can we love the work of Roman Polanski and Michael Jackson, Hemingway and Picasso? Should we love it? Does genius deserve special dispensation? What makes women artists monstrous, and what would we do with the beauty and with our unruly feelings about it? Claire Dederer explores, I think I said that right, explores these questions and our relationship with the artist whose behaviour disrupts our ability to understand the work on its own terms. She interrogates her own response and behaviour as she pushes the fan and the reader to do the same. Morally wise, deeply considered and sharply written, Monsters gets to the heart of one of the most pressing conversations. I just love the idea of this, given the current world. So those are the ones I reserved and picked up and adding to my ever-growing pile of loaned library books. Then I always have a wee nosy at the books that they have on sale, and I got these 5 books, nearly said 3, I can't count. I got these 5 books for 80 pence. 80 pence. I wanted to give them more. I didn't have any kids, only take cash, and I didn't have. This one I saw and I was like, one of my bookster buddies read this and really enjoyed it, so I picked it up. And I think it's winner of an Post-Irish Book Awards Novel of the Year 2022. There is nothing special about the day Cushla meets Michael, a married Protestant from Belfast, in the pub owned by our family. But here, in 1970s Ireland, love is never far from violence, so this is during the Troubles, and this encounter will change both their lives forever. It sounds really good. It's blurbed by Marianne Keyes. Broke my heart in a million times. Absolutely loved it. Nick Hornby, a beautiful, devastating novel. So I'll be reading that soon. Then, this is a Shirley Jackson I hadn't heard of. The Road Through the Wall. But also it's one of those classic, is that a penguin? No, modern classic cover. Yeah, penguin. I had no idea what this was. What was it? In Pepper Street, in an attractive suburban neighbourhood filled with bullies and egotistical bigots, the feeling of the inhabitants are shallow and selfish. What can a neighbour do to triumph over another neighbour? What may be won from a friend?
One child stands alone in her goodness, little Caroline Desmond, kind, sweet and gentle and the pride of her family, but the malice and self-absorption of the people of Pepper Street lead to a terrible event that will destroy the community of which they are so proud. Exposing the murderous cruelty of children and the blindness of selfishness of adults, Shirley Jackson reveals the ugly truth behind the perfect world. But also the cover is stunning. So pick that up. Then this is another one that I've seen a lot of bookstagrammers and book talkers talk about, maybe if not last year, the year before. It says, one summer can change everything. Ruth and Hannah are sisters, bonded by love and friendship. They are perplexingly different characters. Hannah is radiant, organised and hardworking. Ruth is forever single and totally aimless. Together they are invincible. Every summer they go on a budget holiday together where they bicker, laugh, fight and make up, but this time is different. Something bad happens and now everything is changed forever. I didn't know that's what that was about, but I recognised it and I was like, also I'm going to take all the covers off. Then there was this one that I've never heard of, but I read a synopsis and it sounded great. It's Afterlives by Abdulrazak Gurnah. It says Nobel Prize 2021. Also, I hate these stickers. Big Jubilee read. While he was still a little boy, Elias was stolen from his parents by the German colonial troops. After years away, he returns to his village to find his parents gone and his sister Afia given away. Another young man returns to the town he once lived in. Hamza was not stolen for the war, but fled into it to escape a life of bondage. In the war, he has grown up at the right hand of an officer whose protection has marked him for life. With nothing but clothes on his back, he seeks only work and security and the love of the beautiful Afia, who's the sister. As fate not sees young couples together, as they live and work and fall in love, the shadow of a new war on another continent lengthens and darkens, ready to snatch them up and carry them away. And then last but not least, I do like a Jodi Picoult. I went through a phase years and years ago of reading them, and I've seen her talk once, and I know she does an awful lot of really good research into her books, but this one I hadn't heard of, but also so I was drawn to the cover and then I saw who it was by. It was called The Book of Two Ways. I don't know when this one came out. 2020, so it's not that old. It's a very lovely looking cover, isn't it? And it says, who would you be if you hadn't turned out to be the person you are now? Dawn is a death doula and spends her life helping people make the final transition peacefully. But when the plane she's on plummets, she finds herself thinking not of the perfect life she has, but the life she was forced to abandon. 15 years ago, when she left behind a career in Egyptology and a man she loved. Against the odds, she survives and the airline offers her a ticket to wherever she needs to get to, but the answer to that question suddenly seems uncertain. As the path of her life forks in two different directions, Dawn must confront questions she has never truly asked. What does a well-lived life look like? What do we leave behind when we go? And do we make our choices or do our choices make us? That sounds really good. I do know she's always really good at researching a lot of the subject matters in her books, so I'm looking forward to that. So I've done alright, Anna. I should maybe do some reading. It's Sunday morning. I've been up for maybe an hour and a half, so I'm just making myself finishing off my, what is it, 1.8 litre, no, surely not. Anyway, it's half decaf, half calf. So I'm reading The Good, the Bad and the Aunties by Jessie Sutanto, which is
a total cosy caper. I only started it yesterday, so I've got the last 30 pages. So I'm going to go upstairs with my mug of tea. It says Rise and Shine. My mug of tea, mug of coffee. And the pups are up beside us tonight. I always take them up on a Saturday night. It's like a weekend treat. They sleep up beside us. Because normally Patty's got a wee bed next to her bed and Lucy's got a crate down here filled with fleecy blankets. So that's our normal routine. But this Saturday night, a wee treat. We're all in the bed together. So, you know, I sleep like this. Anyway, they've got wee chews. So Patty and Lucy are going to get a wee chew. I drink the last of my coffee and finish the book. Then I'll tell you about the book later. And I've got a couple of things on my Kindle. I'm in the middle of reading on Want to Read, and then I've got a book I'm starting a buddy read tomorrow, so I'll tell you about that later. But what I'll do is finish this book in my bed, then get up, and it's dry and sunny. It's still a bit windy, but I might go for my wee half-hour run, listening to... Is it Kisscut? It's another Karin Slaughter, which I'm really enjoying. This one here, I think it's book 2. I think it's the second book after, is it False Witness, that I read previously. I mean, these are dark, twisted thrillers and I'm really enjoying them. So I might listen to that for a wee bit on my run, and then I'll catch up with you later on what I'm doing. There's football on, so the OH will be watching that, which means I get some reading and video time with you. Oh, the film I watched, Eyes Without a Face, which is like a classic horror. It gets 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's really high. Came out in the 60s. It's French, so it's subtitled. It is... I wouldn't necessarily personally call it 97%, but it is amazing classic horror. It's really eerie and dark. It's about this doctor who is responsible for a car accident with his daughter. She's maybe early 20s. Anyway, the car accident leads to her having really significant facial injuries, where, because he's a professor, he decides that he wants to fix this, and the way he's doing that is he's leading the way in skin grafts. So this is the 1960s, so not something that was, I don't believe, was, you know, something that was like already happening, so it was maybe quite new. Anyway, so him and his personal secretary, she's responsible for going out and finding young women that they bring back, and he does all this experimental grafts. Anyway, that's the premise. It's pretty dark. It's really good. It's really good. I wouldn't say, I mean, we've got to note that these, I mean, for the 1960s, this would have been terrifying. So that was, and the reason we're watching these classic horrors, because we're listening, maybe said earlier, listening to a podcast that's looking at classic horror movies that have serial killer trope, and that was one of the other. That was one of them. We've recently watched Psycho. I rewatched Psycho. I've watched that a lot. It's one of my favourite Hitchcocks. And what was the other? Which Shadow of a Doubt was another Hitchcock we watched. I can't remember the other one. So yeah, that was quite, it was weird. Yeah, so that was my Saturday night with some popcorn and the pups and the other half. So I'll get on with the day and I'll share. I don't think I'm going to do any baking this weekend. I don't know. I'm going to try and get my cross stitch out, maybe while the football's on, and catch up on some booktubers. Anyway. I legitimately just recorded about 5 minutes of me talking to you and I hadn't hit record. And as you can tell from my face, it's quite warm in this car. But I thought, dedicated to the booktubes. So, quick update. Went for a run.
It's also because I'm not long out of the bath. Went for a run and then I just walked the dogs. Then I decided that it'd be a good idea, since it's super windy and that run felt like resistance training, that maybe my grass in the back lawn was a bit drier so I could mow it. Well, it's still a marshland, so that was another workout in itself, and I can't feel my arms. But it now is still a marshland, just looks a wee bit tidier. So I did that listening to, I started listening to Kisscut, which is Karin Slaughter's book 2, and I think it's a Grant County series. Anyway, book 2 that follows after Blindsided. So yes, dark and twisted already. I'm only about 20% in. So I'm enjoying listening to that, because I was listening to Red Memory, which is a non-fiction book about the Chinese Cultural Revolution, which I was super interested to read about, and I still am. I just didn't really get with the storytelling in this one. And so I think I got 40% in, and then I was like, just, it felt more of a chore than it should. So I returned it early because there was 11 people waiting. So I might see if I can find, or if anyone knows, it's a bit of a random request. Does anyone know of good non-fiction books about the Chinese Cultural Revolution? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, so I've since had a bath, probably why I'm so hot. It's also quite muggy in this car, and I'm quite shiny. But I need to pop out because what have I to get? Ran out of shampoo and conditioner and some hand wash, so I need to get that. And I might pop into TK Maxx to get some napkins and have a wee nosy at their teas. So anyway, since I remembered to record you this time, now my neighbours are going to be like, what the hell is she doing in her car in the driveway talking to her phone this time? You can tell I don't really care what people think very often, especially my neighbourhood, honestly. I'm so like, I've got moisturiser on, like I use a, is it a saline? No, that's not right. Can't remember, it's like a drops. So I'm super shiny but also very hot. So yeah, this is a good look, but at least my hair's washed. Lucky you. And I'll catch you up later. Welcome back. It's Sunday mid-afternoon. I've got my Beauty and the Beast mug. Got this second hand on Depop or Vinted, I can't remember. Anyway, who doesn't love Beauty and the Beast? I'm having my Rooibos tea. I didn't get any tea at TK Maxx, but they're always like a wee look. I think I had kind of most of the green teas and I've got enough of those other teas. So what was I going to update you. Finished The Good, the Bad and the Aunties, which is the third in, hold on 2 secs. So we have Dial A for Aunties, then 4 Aunties and a Wedding, and this is the third instalment, The Good, the Bad and the Aunties. Yes, it upsets me that I have one bigger than the other. This is a big ick of mine. But this is third and final. It's the last, well, I don't know what I think I've had something like chili, I don't know, but now I've touched my eyes and it's like watering. Just don't know what I've done. Oh, it's maybe perfume. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, you don't need to know that, just in case you wonder why round my eyes are really red. So this is a lovely, cosy, comfortable, kind of cheesy series that follows Maddie Chan and her mum and her mum's sisters, kind of close collective of aunts. It's quite sweet. I would say the first 2 books are the best ones. This one was enjoyable. I read it in 24 hours pretty much. It was an easy read. It's just a cozy caper actually. And I do have this one, actually I would say out of, like I do the first 2, but this is another one by the same author, which is Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. I love this. This is one of my favourites. Enjoyed it more than that one, but I would say it's always nice to revisit Maddie and her aunts and her crazy aunts, and you know, culturally you kind of, I don't know how much of it's stereotypes or not, but you kind of find out a lot about her Chinese mum and her aunts, who are just like always meddling in Maddie's life throughout the books, but they're always getting themselves into, like this one, there's about 2 kidnappings and mafia bosses. So it's kind of like, if you enjoy Finlay Donovan books, which I do, it's like a lighter version of that. I'd been gifted it by HQ Stories. One of my bookster friends works for them and asked me if I wanted it, so that was quite nice. Mum's phoning me while I'm recording, so I need to phone her back. So that was that. She'll leave me a voicemail, by the way. My mum is the only person in the world that leaves me a voicemail. That, and if the bank has some sort of fraud check on my account, the only people that leave voicemails for me. Because nobody ever does. Because, you know, you see a missed call. Anyway, it's just my mum. I mean, don't mean just. I mean, it's my mum. So, finished that. Start reading something else? No, because I'd also finished A Good House for Children, which I've talked to you about. And now I have 2 books. Yep, voicemails just come in. Now I have 2 books on my Kindle I want to finish reading. Oh, well, one I'm halfway through and I want to finish reading. That's my Kindle cover. One I'm 54% in and want to finish reading. And the other I was very excited about because I got an NetGalley arc for Riley Sager's new book. So, I remind myself, the one I'm currently reading, I think one of the reasons I picked this book originally on NetGalley was because it was a book about librarians. Anyway, I'm quickly going to read the synopsis for you so I don't get it wrong. So, Margot is like a seemingly ordinary librarian with a dark past as a deadly nurse. And I mean deadly nurse, she's got previous for putting some of her patients to an early death. Anyway, she has created a new life as a librarian in this town, and her life and past are about to be rumbled by a new person who starts at the library, uncovers her truth from some Googling, and becomes utterly obsessed with Margot. So it's effectively the story that kind of explores the dark side of like human interests and obsession. It's the like fine line between fiction and reality. I'm 54% through and I'm finding it creepily kind of dark, in a kind of way that you would find, like, maybe I found not quite as dark, but I've got a similar feeling when I read Dead Animals by Phoebe Stooks, or do you know, like Mona Awad sort of writing, but maybe not quite as weird. Plus, set in a library, so what's there not to like? And so excited! I would definitely want to be reading this ASAP. It is Riley Sager's new one that comes out in the summer. So the premise is, decades after the main character's best friend vanished under mysterious circumstances in their childhood neighbourhood, the main character, who I think's called Ethan, returns home to uncover the truth, which leads him down a really kind of dark and twisted path of, in true Riley Sager style, hidden secret and a potential danger. In the review, it's basically saying that his childhood friend's disappearance is possibly even more sinister than anyone had imagined. I love Riley Sager, as you know. If you don't, I love Riley Sager. So I'm super excited. I was dead chuffed that I got approved for this on NetGalley. So I plan to read that pretty soon so I can come back to you and let you know. And another book I'm going to start on Monday is a buddy read, so I'll hopefully tell you about it next weekend, is Butter by Asako Yuzuki. So this is fiction based on true crime. A gourmet cook, Manoka Kaji, sits in a Tokyo detention house convicted of the serial murders of lonely businessmen who she is said to have seduced with her delicious home cooking. The case has captured the nation's imagination, but Kaji refuses to speak with the press. That's until journalist Rika Mashidi writes a letter asking for a recipe for beef stew, and Kaji can't resist writing back. Says, a runaway international bestseller inspired by the real case of the con woman known as the Konkatsu killer. Yuzeki's Butter, translated by Polly Barton, is a vivid, unsettling exploration of misogyny, obsession, romance, and the transgressive pleasure of food in Japan. How good does this sound? So I'll have an update on this next week. So that's everything from this weekend's reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed watching along. Please do leave a comment, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you again next week. Bye!